LGD finally end their 6-game loss streak with a victory in Game 1 over Vici Gaming, but now can they close out this series and take their second series win in the 2019 Spring LPL? Welcome back, everyone. I'm Dom. We've got Clement once again, and we've got to talk about what just happened, because Kramer, he put on his carry pants, and they weren't enough. So he got his carry overalls, and they weren't enough. And he got his carry lumberjack coat, and it still wasn't enough. That man is the Apollo of this squad.
Are you not entertained? Like watching one man try to push a boulder across a mountaintop. That's exactly what this game was. You can see the squad, everyone is out for blood. They're hunting for Kramer. He uses his 3 Ocean Drakes so well to get him out of this situation. Also the Hail of Blades as well, so for that sudden burst damage. You know, he thinks, wait a minute, I actually have to stop these guys, or they're actually just going to take the game. He turns around, dodges out on the Q, and actually finishes the 1v2, forces the teleport back. Like, what more can you ask of this man? And what more can he do?
This isn't even the end of the play. Kramer turns and baits Chalitza forward on top of the ward. Hail of Arrows for the slow. I'm still here. I'm still here. Meanwhile, Ian is defending the Nexus against the Sivir Lucian and finds himself a kill onto the Lucian while Kramer just continues to bait it out.
And it's super smart here. He's continuously keeping his HP bar high. He's auto-attacking the wards, making sure that he can get a bit of lifesteal off of that, walking back, and even finishes off this play to give his team Baron.
Of course, he will take our MVP with 40% of his team's damage, 66% kill participation. If that wasn't MVP worthy, I do not know what is.
That was like Rambo the movie, you
know?
That was. He was going into the jungle and taking on the entire police of a small town.
Yeah.
That's first blood for him right there. Like, they better be paying him well. They have to be paying him well.
Oh man, Atlas carrying the entire team on his back, the literal weight of LGD and the very world itself for him. But still, we're getting back into this game too. We've got a chance for Vici to try and reset the series before LGD can close it out. No roster changes. LGD find themselves on blue side. I want to come back a little bit to what you said at the end of the matchup. You said it was a confident play, that we knew LGD knew that they couldn't have lost the game during those trades.
Yep.
During the break, we kind of talked a little bit more. Is it really confidence, or is it coincidental genius?
We'll never know. We can listen in on the mic checks afterwards.
We'll call for the mic check at the end of the day.
Look, this is a team that at the start of the game they placed 2 words in the same brush, and I was like.
It could be brilliant. It could be brilliant.
It could be brilliant. It could be accidental. But at the end of the day, what it was, at the very least, was entertaining.
Yes.
And that's enough. I'm a fan of LGD after that.
Yeah, that's the LGD that we know and love. Vici, though, this young squad, the thing that I liked about it was even amidst all of that chaos for Vici was they've got grit. They stuck to their guns throughout the course of the matchup. They saw LGD step forward. They punished LGD. They saw Kramer get a little bit too far out of position. They turned and took Baron and chased it down into inhibitors. At no point did it look like Vici gave in to the chaos of LGD, and I think that's something we have to celebrate.
Vici, they were always so aware of the potential plays from LGD.
Yeah.
You could see Kennen guarding the base that. Like, he knew his life depended on that play. And even though the last play from Ike's didn't work, it was the only play that could have gotten them back into the game. So their mind's in the right place. However, I don't think their blue side draft is strong enough to really carry through their tempo-based style. You can see, I don't think the Lucian really did enough in that matchup.
Yeah.
It was a bit of a head-scratcher. Kennen, the same case in the top side, getting pushed in by the Rise. So this time on the red side, I think this is Vici Gaming. I'm not sure, but I think it's Vici Gaming calling the side selection.
Yes.
It should allow them to play through the lanes, and at the very least, the #1 goal is that they have to have Southwind rolling in the early game.
And it is so interesting you mentioned that their blue side is where they struggle. They've actually been prioritizing blue side over the past few weeks. About a full 2/3 of their games, I think it's now 13 games on blue side, 5 on red side, and now they're choosing to go to red.
They've only won 1 game on red side. That's a key stat to remember, and the reason that they choose blue side most of the time is because they want their bot lane moving out of that lane. I think the reason now that they're choosing to go on red side is because they know that even with strong priority picks for Puff, they're not going to get lane priority. Kramer has enough champions in his pool where he can really punish a lot of the supposedly tier 1 champions.
And we do have to celebrate that down in the bottom lane. Puff going even with Kramer for a significant majority of the match. I think at the very end of that match, I didn't quite catch the scoreboard, he still ended up with only 1 death. He was carrying equally as hard. We talked about the 2v8. If we are seeing the red side counterpick from Puff, perhaps towards Kramer, or maybe from Jay to protect or focus down on that bottom lane, that could be an opportunity for Vici to try and exploit the early game a bit more and prevent Kramer from snowballing, though you did mention the depth of his champion pool.
I like Kramer finally cracking a smile after such a
I mean, you have to laugh
one.
after a game like that. If you're serious and tilted after a victory of a game like that, then you got to look at the rest of the set.
Life is always brighter on the other side. That's the way you have to look at it. You know, there's some tense moments. You're sighing down there, but at the end of the day, a win is a win is a win. And Kramer has to feel happy for that.
Yeah, you got to take those whenever you get the chance. Though, still, both of these teams, they need their wins if they want to start trying to look towards playoffs. That 8th place spot to catch up, and that we are seeing these two teams so aggressively skirmish against each other in that game 1 only speaks to the importance. They know that this is going to be their quote-unquote last easy win, and this was not an easy game 1.
Yeah, Vici definitely having the rougher side of the schedule. We've actually seen a lot of games where they're going up against the top brass of the team. That's why we still maintain a relatively high bar and high standard of faith in this new team. Even though their record doesn't show it, their competition has been absolutely fierce.
Yeah.
Their only victory so far has been against Sino Dragons, and that game, they actually showcased a lot of good things in their tempo management, in their team fighting ability to really stand up to some of the other good AD carries like Gala on that roster as well. So I'm personally still looking forward for Vici. I have a lot of faith in them that they'll continue to grow and be a good squad. But number one thing they have to do is get over that ban pick hurdle, make sure that they can actually make something happen in that early game.
Well, speaking of ban picks, it looks like it has now arrived as we get into Game 2 between LGD and Vici Gaming. There's a very early Kaisa ban. Vici know to respect Kramer after that Game 1 performance. Again, we still see that Ergon, but we'll see how things change up with LGD on blue side and Vici on their very low prioritized red side.
Key answer we want to see from Vici is who do they actually save that counter pick for? A lot of times we don't even see Vici on the red side at all, so that's one of the biggest mysteries for me. They could try and play through Jay, and another one is playing through support. I think those are the two positions where they personally have put the most faith in, and they want to have the early game revolve around those.
We'll see what Jay decides to take. We know that he does prefer some of those longer range mages more often than not, but already the Cassiopeia banned away, Zoe banned on that side. So maybe we could look towards perhaps a Syndra, something a little bit more safe, than we know Ian likes to play the same thing. And even the very early Lissandra ban away from Ian. And still LGD. Oh, PYL.
Never change.
Never change. Stay exactly the way. Even he knows it. Look at that grin. He was emoting over the course of the entire match. PYL. What a guy.
I want to know if that was a coach's decision.
For a PYL thing?
Yeah.
Coach is like, okay, Lucian is open, and PYL says, top catch. Top catch right now.
The only thing I need you to do is not die.
Exactly.
Can you pick the top catch?
Now, it should be noted, on the opposite side, whenever we're seeing the player cams go through, Vici, they are dead serious in this. They look like they took the emotional weight of that Game 1, and they are carrying that burden with them. They know this is LGD that they should be able to defeat. Whereas LGD on the other side, we just saw, they are laughing and grinning. So perhaps a little bit more seriousness, a little bit more respect from the Vici squad as Galio and Varus locked in for Puff and Southland.
I like the Varus pick. This is a pick that doesn't have a lot of lane counters, so they're forcing LGD to beat them through team composition. And LGD, they're thinking about it. You can just see the Yasuo already being hoovered around. They need something that can go into the back line and create havoc for Varus. Doesn't have a lot of mobility, so if you can have enough rushers that target him, you can take Puff out of the game.
See what LGD decide to focus on, as Ezreal is the next pickup for Kramer. Of course, PYL still taking that Tom Kench, but we're going to be looking towards what Ian takes if he wants to focus down Puff. Perhaps Lies might get the chance to play a carry, though he has been playing bruisers more often than not, split pushers, to round that out. And Sion looks like he's going to be the pickup. And even the very early LeBlanc look now from Vici Gaming to further deny Ian on the other side.
Interesting. So I like what Vici are going with. They're going for full-on early game. I think that's their biggest weakness so far, that is that if they don't get it, their games actually look quite loose. They're not the fastest team to react in the mid phases. They don't have the best collapses. They don't have the best 5v5s, so tempo is everything for them. They're all-inning on picks that don't have a lot of separate win conditions outside of the laning phase, but are indomitable in lane. It's very hard to push these guys out of laning phase, and it really does come down to what Ian has in the tank, have in the bank. Can he have a pick that can't stand up to Jay's assassins? Can Kramer really come out of this laning phase looking somewhat ahead?
Well, we do have the Rise Syndra banned away from Ian off the back of that. Of course, Vladimir now banned away from LGD's side, so we could be looking towards Ian's counter pick on this next round as they try to round things out, or perhaps Condi looks like he's being significantly less focused this game, so LGD could try to avenue some of their focus through him. Jarvan, Xin Zhao, Olaf, some champions like that to try and open it up. But again, looking towards that Ian versus Jay matchup, who's going to get the maneuverability? Jay's already got LeBlanc. What else has Ian got left? As now Vici, they're going to have to show their next hand. Jungle or top? What do you still got?
4 bans being thrown into Jay's way. LGD right now, their composition really lacks a lot of early oomph. There's not much that can get lanes going. A very passive starting phase, and Vici Gaming once again taking away another aggressive option. Even though Condi has the Jarvan, I don't think he has a lot of good follow-ups in any of his lanes. They're going to have to go for, they need some early action here. It cannot be a passive pick. It has to be something that can combo with. Okay, never mind. They're going for super passive picks.
Yeah, I mean, we know that Ian likes his long-range mages. Victor being looked at. He swapped it back over to the Akali.
I'm never a fan of picking yourself into a situation like this, where you don't have a say in the early game whatsoever at all. I'd much rather trade lanes around and at least have one lane that you can play towards. But it doesn't look like the case for LGD. It's a composition that purely says, hey, we're going to hang on. We're going to hang on.
Which is so interesting considering how effective that strategy was in Game 1, keeping the lanes maintained and safe to get themselves into that mid-game transition rather safely. But now it looks like LGD might have gone just a little bit too far in that direction, as our final champion locked in for Chalitza is Yorick, making his return to the Rift for Vici Gaming.
So Vici Gaming, strong lanes across the board, tons of win conditions. Later on, they do have the split pushing as well. They should have full control of the Drakes earlier on. It really is about how much Condi can influence the lanes. Can he flip one or two of those matchups to go in LGD's favor? Can he do maybe a vertical jungle to start it off to make sure that at least they have a strong side to play in on the map? Or else this could be a very swift stomp coming in from Vici Gaming. The draft is that one-sided.
Yeah, very mobile, forward-styled composition from Vici Gaming, almost a snowball-esque composition if they wanted to try to bowl through LGD. Though there is a pretty hefty amount of wave clear on LGD's side, they do need to be careful of the dive that Vici Gaming's composition sets up. If LGD find themselves lapsing in vision or roaming outside of vision in a bad spot, they could go down pretty quick. We've already seen them make a few of those mistakes in Game 1. Will they be able to pick it up in Game 2?
Definitely hope so. This is a comp where I feel if TOP was playing it, we saw yesterday they went for something quite similar. They could pull it off. They actually have the individual player strength to just flip matchups. That's something very incredible, but we have LPL players that are that elite and they can play whatever they want and still come out ahead. I'm not sure LGD have that same sort of status. It's going to be a huge test for Ian. It's going to be a huge test for Condi to really secure the early game.
We'll see whether or not LGD can pull it off, or if they will find themselves in a passive early game instead, at the whim of Vici until LGD's comp comes online. Always a dangerous game to play, especially after poking the rabid dog that is Vici and then forcing them onto an aggressive composition. Will they be able to keep their hand free from the teeth of Vici Gaming? We've loaded onto the Rift. It's game 2 of LGD and Vici. Ike's leading the charge, placing a nice early forward ward just to keep an eye on Condi. And while in game 1, Condi found himself on the Skarner, pretty ineffective until about level 6. Now he's on that Jarvan. Now he's on a champion that can actually interact early and gank. But who's he gonna gank? It's a Victor, an Ezreal, a Sion. I guess maybe Sion would be your best bet. Hope he gets the knockup and flag and drag on top of it.
We did see some good plays from XX yesterday, getting the double kill. Pretty much the fashion you were talking about. So, yeah, I agree with you. I think the top lane has to be the place where he does find his kills, or he could go for vertical jungling, which I think at least guarantees a strong side.
Now, LGD looks like they're actually going for an invade. They're going to see the spell effects as blue buff is started. Ike's leading the charge as he tosses the undertow. Even Southwind, flash taunt. Kramer manages to flash it again. PYL ignited, late flash to get out of this one. He's down to 200. Condi getting some auto attacks, drops the standard. Kramer's the target. He doesn't have his flash anymore. He turns for the auto, looks for one. Ike's is low, but Condi leaves too soon, and Ike's survived. First blood, Vici Gaming.
Ooh, that has to be pretty rough. You could see the communication between the two players didn't seem like it really lined up. It was a kill that Condi, I felt, could have picked up, and there wasn't enough crowd control to really kill him off the back of that, but didn't really commit to it. And Vici, such a smart early level 1 play. I think they had a very similar read to the situation I did, where honestly they said, okay, LGD with this composition, the only way they can get out of this is if they do vertical jungling and set up an artificial strong side. So they punished it so well with the early ward, and they're going to punish it even more with the same one.
Condi, he's looking for it. He wants to upset the lane and try to equalize with that kill. Slow lands onto Puff, but no conversion as Condi goes red buff right down to bottom and then back into the jungle. Ike's with that assist, already working on that second camp to try and catch up to Jarvan and further surpass him as he ticks over to level 3.
Can we give that ward the MVP?
Yeah, please.
I think it's pretty much won the game.
That was some pretty high value.
Catches out the level 2 gank and the early level 1 invade.
Spectacular positioning from Vici Gaming as they manage to find the read, and that's all it takes to set themselves up with a very early lead, 600 gold. It's not converting into any items or stats advantages just yet, but at around 5 to 7 minutes, once we see that first recall, depending on how the lane goes, it's going to get real tough for LGD in that bottom lane.
I want to see what Condi actually does with this information around Krugs. He does spot it out, has it spotted already, and Olaf is actually quite low in terms of his HP. So there could be a potential punish if he rushes up there, but Ike's very aware of the situation and the fact that Fly's already left lane before is actually just going to go straight back.
Yeah. I mean, that's the eternal Olaf conundrum. If I invade him, he's low health, I could kill him quickly. Counterpoint, he also attacks faster if he's low health, and he could kill me if he manages to get the sustain, but it looks like Condi, he might be looking to go top right now as the wave is starting to push away. Slow lands on Chalitza, but still Chalitza's taking it nice and patient. Even Ike's is on the way. Condi walks forward, Flash gets away from the knockup, and that is a flashless Yorick.
Well done by both sides. Absolute maximum punishment. It did seem like Condi stepped out of the brush just a little bit early.
Yeah.
So Chalitza actually had a preemptive response going backwards.
Didn't need to worry quite so much as Condi gave him just a little bit of early information, but still, that is flashless Yorick, flashless Olaf, and flashless Southwind. Now, Ike's is looking for perhaps his own first gank as Jay distorts forward onto the big old minion wave, and Ian sits nice and far back. Double Dark Seal plus Biscuits. He's just going to catch wave after wave, but look at the freedom that opens up. Level 5, Jay starts roaming down. Ike's hot on his heels.
We've seen this a lot from these Olafs. You get the early level lead, you do a super efficient first clear, and when you come back onto the map, you have that level lead. you're able to link it up with your mid laner. This should be a situation where it's going to be very hard for Conti to take camps. The only camps you should be able to take are the camps that are on the very far side of the map. The Krugs and the Groms are pretty much the only ones he should be getting at this point.
We can already see some pretty aggressive forward wards, one just on the other side of Raptor Camp and another one behind the tri-bush of LGD to spot out wherever Conti is going to be on that side of the map if he steps past that line that you just mentioned. As whoa, Lies clears out the minion wave. Did he just like jump around a little bit during that animation?
It's pretty common these days.
All right.
Unfortunately, our observer can be somewhat buggy, so that's why I was a bit hesitant to call the Conti stepping out of the brush, because we've been seeing so many plays where the jungler...
When you're channeling and your momentum retains for the channel, even though you're technically not moving. Oh, yeah. Some good old spaghetti. Some things never change. Ooh, that chains will last. There's the second one. Jay looking for some more damage. The Chaos Storm as Flash used by Jay. Ian's got his own, but decides not to use it.
Oh, Ian wins the staring contest. Very low.
Conti's over the wall. He's found Ike's at 200 health. Managed to land the knockup, but still Smite secure. Ike's, he's going to get some assistance from Southwind. Knockup. Conti still chasing. He's got a flash. Puff trying to escort him to safety. Even Jay is still here as Conti continues to walk forward to zone them out, but Vici have already got what they came for.
Yeah, very good answer coming in from Vici's bot lane. Able to cancel out Conti. Conti with some really good spider senses as well. Just sniffing out that this is something that Olaf's love to do. He's still looking for him.
Over the wall to force Ike's away to the tier 2 and try to get some camps back. There's the Maiden up top. As the wave pushes in, Chalitza immediately doing as Yorick's love to do and just push and shove that wave. The trade-off, though, Sion gets a lot of HP from just about everything he kills. So if the game goes on long enough, Lies could become a bit of a problem. But for now, Vici are going to use that to convert it into some pressure top.
Definitely would recommend the Overgrowth rune in that situation. You get your extra HP off your goals as well. But we can see how Yorick can now play the matchup. We've been seeing ever since the Yorick buffs is that they just call the Maiden whenever possible. You use your Dark Procession against range matchups, and you get the Omen procs out of the enemy champion, where they can't really retaliate against you. They're stuck in that wall, and you can have the Maiden just continuously do damage. And every 2 seconds, you just pop in with the Q, you proc the damage, and on cooldown, that really is a very hard trading pattern to win out against.
Hashtag standard Yorick, effectively. Just keep on pushing, shoving, trading, and sustaining. Now, we do see a blue invade from LGD. They've managed to find a window into Vici's side of the map, and they will convert it into a successful trade where the blue invade didn't work earlier. It works this time. But with 2 turret platings down in top lane for both sides, I don't expect too much action up there unless Conti or Ike's decide to try and upset it. And to come back to what you mentioned a little bit earlier in the game, that's the Olaf lead we were expecting. Level 6 already to Conti's level 5.
Yeah, but they LGD actually managed to get back a lot of tempo because of that Drake play. Delayed Jay from going back to base. They're able to set up a ring of vision, and Conti has actually been able to take camps where we felt that he would be very, very pressured to take, the Raptor camp being one of them.
Ike's thinking about roaming towards the bottom. Jay is there with him. No teleport for Chalitza, so it looks like it's going to be a 4-man dive. They are backing way the heck up as Kramer takes no chances. They know that the LeBlanc is missing, and immediately they leave away from that turret. Pings now onto the red buff as Chalitza is trying to get some river vision to spot out for how Conti's going to try and retaliate.
A key thing here is Ike's was never actually spotted, so they don't know where the Olaf actually is on the map. Of course, he does show mid now. You can see Conti was very cautious about approaching the Herald. Wanted to know the Olaf, where the Olaf was before he started that potential counterplay.
Still, it looks like it is going to fizzle out. LGD, I can't believe I'm saying this, they're actually getting the laning phase that they wanted. So far, there's not been a lot of action outside of that early invade. They've pretty effectively communicated whenever Jay leaves lane, whenever Ike's happens to cross a ward, whenever the Ghoul is used up top, tracking Chalitza's teleport cooldown. And as a result, they're keeping things pretty close to even. It's about a 1,300 gold differential as Puff, as expected, should be getting a bit of a CS lead from his push advantage. And we're also seeing a slight advantage from Ike's springboarding off of that first blood.
Ooh, very close. Jay actually taking a huge chunk of damage going in onto Ian.
And again, there's the storm. Jay eats a proc, the flash, laser! Ian solo kills. Nice and calm. Just walks it right on back.
I'm very impressed. Did not expect that to happen in this matchup. It looked like the LeBlanc was running most of the laning phase. And with that play, it really does spell an end to LGD's woes in terms of holding on to their lanes and making sure that Vici Gaming can't overrun them in that sense. For me, Vici Gaming, they haven't really taken Southwind and linked it up into the red side jungle. I think that's a major weakness I see of their play so far. Let's watch Jay again. Takes the EQ on his way in. Has to walk out. Doesn't have flash, but decides to stay for the cannon.
For the cannon. Oh, you hate to see it happen. And then the moment he walks next to the turret, Ian says, I know my hitbox. I know you have no distortion. Thanks for the kill.
Doesn't even get the cannon either.
Oh yeah, that's the worst part of it all.
Yeah.
Now the next dragon is spawning. It's another ocean, and Vici looks like they're already setting up to patrol this side of the map. As, ooh, that laser, again, just chunks out some damage. PYL ward over the wall. Jay is taking punishment on this LeBlanc. He's now a level down with Condi and PYL dropping double sweeper to make sure the back of the dragon pit is safe. LGD are keeping their options open, but still, Vici, they're the ones who are maneuvering around the river first.
Double sweeper is actually bad, but yeah, they definitely want to keep it safe.
Zero vision, Clement. No chance.
I love how Ian's been trading this game. You can tell that he's Eing where Jay originally comes in with the distort, and he's actually hitting both procs of the death ray at the same time.
Yeah.
So really good on the anticipation, and it's catching Jay off guard. I think Jay's going back too soon, so basically taking too much damage in these trades where he might not necessarily need to.
It's just keeping constant focus on Jay in that laning phase. And Ian, showing his years of experience in playing mages like this, is, oh, manages to find some good damage. Condi drops the standard after the Dragon Rush. Perhaps just going for poke. I don't think he actually wanted to go in. You know what? I'm going to say he didn't actually want to go in. Okay, now he wants to go in. See, he was waiting for the right opportunity, Clement. As, ooh, that's the Abyssal Voyage canceled out by PYL. Another laser on the Southwind. I think Puff with the save prevented PYL and Kramer from joining that fight, but with the support chunked away, LGD, now they're going to turn onto the Dragon. Imagine if he had gone in. That might not have converted into a Dragon.
I actually think PYL stopped that himself, it seems like. I'm not. Maybe Puff was able to stop him with the Q, but never mind. They're actually going for
the Herald there. That's the Abyssal Voyage to try and catch up the knock-up. There's a smite as it is secured. Now Ike's has got the flash. Unbreakable Condi. Flashes for the chase. He wants it. Hero's entrance. Southwind provides some stats. He's even got the ignite. That's the stopwatch. But PYL finds himself the kill. Flash over the wall from Chalitza. And PYL and Condi escape, finding themselves a kill.
This is PYL at his best. Leaving the lane, making sure Kramer has something he can farm alone on, and just influencing the map.
Chains of Corruption. Puff, Blade of the Ruined King. He's got some big damage. Pops the Blight. But they just trade it back and forth.
Showcasing the power of Lethal Temple. Still a favored rune choice by Puff here. Can he actually find the Q? Nope, still very far away.
And PYL says, what I miss? I was here the whole time. I don't know what you're talking about. So here's that play from the beginning. Ikes tries to escape over the wall, but Condi and PYL make the call.
Now Southwind already going in with the hero's entrance, but really isn't enough to save the situation. Condi also still has his stasis effect up. Perfect timing.
Love it when PYL gets the kill. The only thing missing from that was that he didn't emote after he picked it up. But now it's 2 kills to 1. It's only 700 gold difference between LGD and Vici here, as Vici, they've got themselves the Rift Herald for about another 3 or so minutes, down to about 2.5 it looks like for Ikes. And though he's sitting on a control ward, Ikes still hanging out down here. Might want to try to break it down now that the turret plating has fallen.
This is good timing for Vici. They really want to force the issue after Kramer gets his Iceborne Gauntlet. The AoE effect can stall this lane out if you do not deal with it as soon as possible. And Vici, understanding that breakpoint, just force the issue, take it away. They even keep on to the Herald So maybe that's another lane they could crack open, especially Ian's lane, since LeBlanc has been having basically no effect on the map so far. He hasn't been able to link up with the Ola. So maybe using that Herald there and just freeing Jay to do his work is the next move for Vici.
Well, Jay was roaming earlier, but the moment Ian got the solo kill, that entire matchup changed around in favor of the Victor, and now he's just controlling and manipulating this mid lane. Though we do see Vici, after breaking the bottom tier 1, looks like this is the lane assignment that they're going for, sending Puff and Southwind toward the top lane. Ike's looks like he's headed up there to meet with them, and as we said, still has the Rift Herald, so could be trying to break down that top tier 1, though Ian still hanging on to the mid lane. Plenty of wave clear to keep Jay busy as Chalitza starts to head bottom with his teleport comfortably ready should any action break out. But again, my eyes are on Ike's. Where's he going to drop this Herald? Is he going to panic drop it with 10 seconds
Puff
left?
in position.
Oh no, the Chains of Corruption misses. Puff predicts the reaction. And unlike Kramer, the prediction does not pay off.
Hey, maybe Kramer's a genius. Maybe he just walked forward intentionally.
Could have been. Yeah, you're exactly right.
that was a great play from Puff. I really like the awareness for Varus to do things like this. You know someone is walking up, you know the wave position, and even though the rest of your members are kind of far away, they can come into the play with their teleports, with Hero's entrance. So it was a very smart heads-up play, but unfortunately it didn't work out.
I mean, there is still a pretty deep ward in that top lane for Chalitza and Jay to try to teleport to should a fight break out. But right now it looks like Kramer and PYL are just backing away as Jay, he can't even poke down the Jarvan. That's not a good place for a LeBlanc. I mean, Jay's got himself the Ludens for some damage, but still no Sork Boots. And there we go. That's the Rift Herald in the mid lane in between the waves. Let's see if Shelly stops on the minions. Oh no, that buys enough time for Ian to get in there, though. Shelly will get a charge. Ian's trying to get behind it, but cannot quite in time. That's some good damage, but the turret is still standing.
I also would like to pull your attention to the bot lane. We're seeing a Z-Rot portal versus versus the Maiden there.
Minions versus minions.
It looks like they're playing Clash Royale down there.
Just dropping out horde after horde of skeletons. Were you a skeleton player, Clement?
I will not comment. I despise skeleton players, by the way.
Oh, really? Yeah. For me, it was giants and barrel goblins. That was my bane. They slow roll giants and then drop barrel goblins in the other lane, and it's the worst. But it looks like it's just the good old-fashioned skeleton army in the mid lane to break down the remains of that turret. Lies charges forward to defend it, but it's already gone.
Some good looks being thrown by Vici. They throw the PvE look, and then they throw the PvP one. So one finally does stick. Interesting path to go back from PYL.
It's still 2 turrets to 0, so LGD, they've effectively stalled out, they've already gotten what they wanted out of the early game. They've stalled out this early game so much. They've hit the Iceborne Gauntlet, they've hit the second upgrade on Victor. We've got the Zerat and even further tanky items on Lies. Now they're starting to transition towards that mid and late game. So Vici, they had the opportunity to break the game open, especially after that first blood. They just weren't able to do it, but it looks like Vici, they're looking now. Southwind steps forward, Flash finds only Condi in the front line. That's the stopwatch. Kramer, he's going to be saved by PYL, escorted out of the side. Will he be able to get out of this fight alive? No, he goes down. Finally, Ian joins the fight, but Cataclysm prevents him from getting out of this. Lives is also going to be split off at LGD. They get the turret, but finally, Vici find themselves the fight that they were looking for, and they pick up a few kills.
Ooh, and PYL is still slowed here. He might not be able to make it out. Still does have his flash.
Jay is chasing. He's got no flash to catch up to PYL, though Distortion is soon to come back up. There's the Tongue Lash, and it ends up paying off. Though finally, with the Maiden, top tier 1 will be broken. You know, it's always the caster's curse. You gotta say, LGD, they get what they wanted, they get the landing phase, and he immediately, Vici, break it open.
I love how Puff actually played this. He held on to his Chain's Corruption for so long. It was a great teleport from Lies to zone Puff out of the situation. But watch when he finally does take it down. The enemy team is in a choke, they're all slowed down, and a very good collapse from the jungler coming in on Ike's as well as he closes off on Kramer. So perfect surround from all scenarios, and a really good layering of the CC chains coming out from Vici to close in on that team fight. I will say the gold lead, oh, that gold lead actually ballooned a lot more than I thought.
It got real big, yeah.
It was only a 1K gold lead before this, but if you look at it now, it's actually up another 3,000.
Yeah. 4.2 thousand gold now ahead of their opponents. That's resulting in a finished Triforce on Chalitza. That hurts. Redemption has been finished for Ike's, which is pretty handy, and now the Gwinsu's also finished off for Puff, the really expensive items starting to come through. Even a second Redemption for Southwind. So Vici looks like they're going to start turning up the heat. And LGD, they had an opportunity, but it might be slipping through their fingers as Condi. There's no standard there. He drops it down. PYL with the save. He's got himself a flash, but he's going to end up taking some damage. Condi's still alive. The ghouls are chasing. He smites the ghoul to stay alive, but PYL over the wall. Jay decides not to chase. PYL dies to keep his jungler up, but still Vici, they're running towards the Baron.
A noble sacrifice from PYL, but he actually had his flash in that instance. Decided that he was still going to die anyway. However, this is going to create such an unbalance on the map for Vici Gaming. LGD are very slow to the play.
Jay over the wall looking for the opening. Lies leads the charge. There's the heroic punch. Lies goes in. Baron's down to about 3,000. It's getting lower. Ian's over the wall looking for some damage. Looking for the steal. Doesn't get it. Smite secure for Ike's. Now they're trying to get out of this. The charge backwards, but Condi, he's got different plans. Cataclysm is ready. Who's the target? Goes forward. That's the Cataclysm. Puff is going to be eating some damage. Flashes over the wall. Southwind with the knockup. Lies zoning from the far side. PYL rejoins the fight as LGD. They're looking for something. They're trying to get it. Southwind dodges left. He dodges right. He's still alive, but pinned against the wall. LGD overcommit, but they do find the support. One kill for Vici's Baron.
Super worth it for Vici.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, really good split at the end of that. Kramer with the Iceborne Gauntlet, unfortunately unable to chase down the majority of the targets. That was a situation where I felt LGD might have been able to get a little bit more out of it, but very good split out of Vici. Stops them from the AoE, and a couple key abilities missing here and there really lets them escape with their lives to continue to extend this gold lead.
Yeah, up to 6,000 gold ahead now for Vici, and they've got the Baron for 2.5 minutes. Southwind is back up, and the pressure is about to accelerate. We've already seen how quickly Vici can maneuver in between the lanes once they get a little bit of vision. Now they've got even more with that Baron buff pushing up waves for them. LGD might be finding themselves scrambling here, though we do finally have the Muramana transformation from Kramer. We've got the full upgrade from Ian. Gargoyle, Stoneplate ready for Condi. It looks like they're finally ready for a fight. It's just, what is that, 60 seconds, 2 minutes too late?
It's very unfortunate on the item timings overall. LGD with their composition in the later phases of the game, they should be able to fight a front-to-back team fight once Sion's tanks items are online. But that's not really the case for them, and Lies finds himself in a 1v2.
Yeah, lockdown inside of it. Ike's walks forward, and the charge to safety. The ghouls are still following back as True Shot Barrage set to clear the wave, and the Maiden takes a few hits. Still, the Zerat doing a little bit to stall this wave out. Not quite too much, but it should contribute to Lies just a little bit more as Jay, looking for revenge, doesn't find it.
These lasers and the chains getting a little bit confusing. Both of these skins having very similar color tones.
Yeah. Still, Jay just constantly chipping away at the health of that Victor. He does have one Ocean Dragon to provide some sustain, but he's just trying to keep these turrets standing. Remember, this is the same pressure Vici used in Game 1 that they were able to convert into an inhibitor, though that Baron was a little bit more into the mid-game at about 25-26 minutes. They're having a bit more difficulty up against LGD's wave clear composition this time around.
And it is at that point in the matchup where LeBlanc just naturally does so much more damage, so much faster than the Victor can really respond to at this point. So she's getting the upper hand in these trades as well, but a really good defense from LGD overall. I actually do like the Zerat portal being taken now. I think more about it. He's been able to hold that tower for so long against this Yorick.
There's only 30 seconds left on the Baron buff. The outers have been broken down, but the inners are still standing. Jay feigns a recall, still hanging out, 15 seconds. And that's, all right, that's the channel bug. That's the channel bug. That's all it is.
Okay, that's the channel.
Yeah.
I thought it was a bait where he's like, hey,
so he channeled, and I think he canceled the channel by clicking. And then he stopped, but I guess the spectator didn't fully register the stop, so it just kept on walking forward until it resynced. But still, 25 minutes into the game, LGD, they managed to wait out the Baron. They're still holding ground here, and as we get closer to the Bladed Ruin King for Kramer, LGD, they just need to wait for the opportunity for Vici to group up, for LGD to take that front to back. Will Vici give them that opportunity, though? Or will they continue to play this 1-3-1?
Ooh, for Vici Gaming, I'm not sure. I don't think they're making much headway in the 1-3-1, and LGD are actually find themselves in a position where they're happy to just stay there. Good steal by Ian.
Also, almost exceptional timing from Kramer, too. He's down at the Cloud Dragon right now, and he almost got in on that steal as, Kandi over the wall, but this time the team is there. Takes the Blast Cone back and immediately Dragon Standards to safety.
He's the son of Baron, not Drake.
Yes.
You have to leave the Drakes go. They grow up into Barons. They grow up into Dragons.
Do you think Drake's son will also be a rapper?
That came out of a left field for me.
We're talking about son of Drake.
I think so. I mean, why not? I mean,
Sure.
Dad already has the business up.
Yeah, why not? Might as well try. Happened with Will Smith.
I actually checked out that album, by the way.
Jaden's?
Yes.
I like him. All right.
We have differing opinions.
Yeah, okay.
That's a matter of taste.
yeah, okay. Fair. 26 minutes into the game. This game is in fact real because our eyes are real. And as a result of that, we've got a 7,000 gold lead as, Jay walks forward, gets some damage onto Ian with the ethereal chains, but Kandi not able to catch up to that elusive LeBlanc, and still the 1-3-1 is being utilized by Vici. Like you said, it's not really getting anywhere, though. It's done some chip damage to the tier 2 turrets and rewarded a Cloud Dragon.
Yeah, LGD so far is just putting out a very good defense with itemizations correctly, and just with the play coming in from Ian as well. He's been going for a lot of armor pen, so just taking the damage route. A lot of times when we see the Victor fall behind, it's actually more about the Banshees and just avoiding the damage, but he's had such a good laning phase that's really changed the dynamic of the lane, where he's just trading Jay with damage and coming out fine with it. Also, both teams getting a Notion Drake apiece really helps with that as well. So Vici Gaming, for them, they're actually thinking about the Baron collapse at this point. They should still get a faster timing if they want to move Chalitza from the bottom side of the map towards the Baron. He still has freedom on that side. He can roam faster, be there in need, but that's a very short timing window that they need to make use of.
And you can see LGD is respecting that Baron in addition. They're starting to step forward, but still, the moment they see Ike step a bit too far, the moment they see Jay on top of a ward, they back up. They don't want to take any chances and get picked out of position, especially with, as you mentioned, the split push Sion versus Yorick matchup in the bottom. The moment one of those two leave, the other wins the push and then joins the fight later as Jay over the wall. Lands damage, but not the ethereal chain follow-up onto Ian as he's just chunked out. But still, Baron is up. That's teleport from Kramer from mid to the tier 2. His Blade of the Ruined King is done, so he can do some damage. Will LGD find that front to back, though? They're spotted. Yeah, there's a ward in that pixel brush. They're starting to move up.
It's a really good ward placed by LGD, and instantly now Vici are forced onto one side of the map. This should open up a straight path to mid if they want to take it.
It should be noted, Lies is recalling. He has given up the bottom tier 2 turret. It's already been chunked down, and the Baron bait ends up being successful. Now Jay, spotted on top of a ward. He's in the back line. Who's he going to look for? Quick devour from PYL is Jay. Ooh, tries to get out of this with a double distortion. That's on cooldown. Kandi flashes, Chains of Corruption misses from the side. Here's Chalitza. Still no sign of Lies as he's out of the fight. There's no front to back. It's back to front for LGD. But it ends up dissolving into nothing.
A good response from both teams. I've been really impressed with how LGD is using their vision. Both of their defensive wards, both in the river and their own jungle, manage to spot out crucial engages and moments for Vici Gaming. They managed to dodge out on all of this, and now they have Sion in the mix as well. Not a lot of ultimates for Puff, so this is a prime time for LGD to actually come back in the game.
Here's the Baron turn. This is the front to back that they've wanted, but they've already been chunked down low. Gargoyle Stone Print from Lies. He's taken a lot of damage, but he's still nice and tanky. The Maiden gets burned down. Baron resets as Vici disengage. Jay looking for the flank. Kramer is his target, but PYL is sitting right there. Still, Kramer looking for some poke with that Iceborne. They push the wave in. Jay is behind, looking for the pincer. Kramer doesn't know where to go. PYL's ready with the save. Kramer is playing with fire. He is standing on a knife's edge at the front of his team, but that is the trust fall to PYL.
Yeah, he still has his flash, and he also knows that the key seat crowd control, Chains of Corruptions, is off for Puff. That's the key thing here, and that's why he's willing to venture that far forward into the jaws of the enemy. LGD, they're playing so patient. They know they have a kiting composition. Be willing to walk backwards. Be willing to spend time and get your damage going onto Vici Gaming's front line. And that's what they do exactly in that dance.
It pays off. The fight is stalled out. Map control similarly stalled. And everything just about resets. And for LGD, that's a good thing, because that means that the map is neutral. They don't have to worry about the Yorick split pushing, about the LeBlanc split pushing just yet for at least a few more seconds until that next recall. So finally, they get a chance to breathe a sigh of relief. They're down 8,000 gold, but they're still keeping Vici on their toes.
Vici's been finding it very difficult to crack LGD so far. This Zerath portal is actually genius from
pretty great, yeah, I love it.
Genius. I can't believe how long he's able to hold on to this. But going forward, it's going to get harder for LGD because they don't actually have enough damage in Condi and Lies to stop Chalitza. In the future, Chalitza with his item build should actually get to the point where he's able to 1v2 both of them. Like with the Maiden there, with his whole family behind him, he should use the Shadow Isle crew to kind of muscle out LGD's top and jungle.
Ooh, Kramer goes in. Look at the damage. Condi chases up. Puff flashes away. He's still got himself that Guardian Angel, but it is going to be Southwind who's trapped. The True Shot Barrage lands. Condi's continuing to walk it forward. Double redemption to try to heal him up, but he goes down. It's Kramer who makes the call for LGD, and it pays off. They find themselves kills onto the bottom lane of Vici. They've broken down the mid-tier 1. They're turning onto the tier 2. I know, I'm speechless as well.
Oh my god, Kramer, how hard is he carrying at this point? It's absolutely insane performance from him.
Oh, great damage from Jay, gets rid of PYL. Now there's no safety to protect him. Still Jay eats some damage, going low. The auto attack, Kramer needs to be nicknamed Atlas from here on out because he is carrying the world right now. LGD break down the inhibitor turret, and though they lose PYL, they are running for that Baron.
I know why Kramer has the longest contract on this team. It's a very smart decision. Keep him as long as possible. 2021 sounds great. Good move management. Good move management.
Love it. Now, Teleport gets Puff back onto the map. Southwind is there too. It's 4 versus 4. PYL has Abyssal Voyage, but Kramer is still just firing shot after shot to whittle Vici's health away as it resets. And ultimately, it ends up equalizing. Now, Vici are still on the map in front of this Baron. LGD looking to cycle some recalls to get health back, but Lies. He's caught out of position. The rest of his team isn't there. 3 members of Vici. Can they burn him down? Condi walks up, uses himself the stone plate, and finds the Maiden now for Chalitza. I'm not sure if that's one of those LGD things, Clement. Not sure if it was genius or accident, but it worked out.
It was a really good position from LGD. They actually blocked out Puff from coming down the ramp in the river, and with Chalitza, not Chalitza, but with Jay not in the picture, they do have to back out of that situation. And we have to remember, Maiden is a very, very large part of Yorick's damage. When he's hitting on the front line, it uses the Omen passive from the Maiden to do 10%. I think it's even actually more than that, more than 10% of the max HP damage. So without the Maiden, the front to back becomes very, very easy for LGD. It does buy them a lot of time to get that setup going. They're still behind by gold, but they've reached the time when they can start making use of their win condition.
It should be important to note the biggest gold differential that you have to look for in this one is Kramer and Puff. Kramer's only about 1,200 gold behind that Varus right now, which in the grand scheme of things isn't that huge. 4 items on both sides. The only difference that's resulting in is the Null Magic Mantle for Puff. Meanwhile, Chalitza is about 2,500 to 3,000 gold ahead of Lies. So ultimately, just a few more defensive stats for that Scion that he's missing out on. But here comes Jay from behind, spotted out by a ward. Sweeper spots it. They're looking for the inhib. Ian and Kramer doing good damage. They break it down. Teleport, Lies, goes in, but he finds himself locked into the baby cage.
The name of the game is saving Private Kramer at this point. You can see how his team members are making sure that there's no entrance way for Jay. Body block if need be. Have that CC ready. Make sure the LeBlanc can't find the flank.
Jay over the wall, sees the Victor and the Ezreal standing side by side, and says, distortion? Distortion. Decides not to, though. Keeps silent. As LGD clearing out vision around this Baron. This is the fight that they've won. They found Jay on the side. They know where he is. They've got vision of Vici as they're starting to move forward. They've got wave control. Bottom looks to be pushing out in their advantage, though top is pushing in for Vici. So Lies is forced to go and cover that wave. And still LGD, with their top laner missing, are controlling this Baron pit.
The most important thing for LGD is not to let Vici get back into that 4-1 split pushing position ever. If Chalitza can get into the bot side, then he can really open the map up and split LGD up. So what LGD has been doing is they've been forcing it very, very hard, just taking the full 5-man into the mid lane and saying, hey, you know what? If you're going to split push, we're going to end the game right here and now. So it's been forcing Vici to adapt to their game style, but at the very least, Vici right now, they do have that big pushing lane. I want to see how they play around this. This is actually one of those times where you can really test the macro of a young team like Vici. Can they look at those waves and figure out a way to actually pull this game back into the 4-1 position rather than just it being a big 5v5 brawl?
And it is such a fascinating juxtaposition to game one where it was LGD who were in the exact same position. That coin flip Elder Dragon for inhibitor, that's now Vici's choice to make. They've got 4 elemental dragons. They've got the split push LeBlanc and Yorick, but they're finding themselves stymied by LGD. They cannot make the same decision, and they are being punished for it. It's actually LGD who find themselves on the Elder Dragon a little bit before Vici do. So perhaps the experience of LGD really starting to shine through in this matchup.
Still 5k up, but there isn't enough sustained magical damage coming out from Vici's composition right now. You can see full armor for Sion and Lies. There's no way you can really take him down. It's going to be about how you can put damage onto the backline.
LGD all stacked up. Jay steps forward. Kramer chases, but doesn't quite hit. Knowing that there's the LeBlanc behind them, they've got to hold on to their position, hold on to the Devour in order to keep those carries alive as the waves are juggled. Zerat in top lane now has balanced it out, but the wave pushing bottom means that has to be dealt with. Lies doesn't have teleport, and neither does Chalitza. This could be the play from Vici. Take a look. Chalitza is sitting in that Elder Dragon pit as Kandi starting to eat some damage.
Good pick by Jay right there. I feel like he could be doing just a bit more in towards the top side. Try to get those waves pushed. Oh, this is a bit unfortunate. I don't think he actually...
He's not catching that minion wave. He's stalling out the next one. So eventually that should build for LGD. Yeah, it looks like the second minion wave is going to stack up. So it will be a 12 minion wave push from LGD on that bottom. I suppose 13 with the cannon.
Great stuff right here. Remember in Season 9, there's actually no hard lane pushing mechanics in the game anymore. You don't get natural push just because you have more towers down in that lane or you have a higher average level than the enemy team. So the Zerat portal, in most cases, will not actually cause a slow push for the enemy team now. Like, the thing about Zerat portal in the past, it was that it often backfired. It often made the minion wave actually bigger.
Yeah.
And it would actually crash into your wave and force you to respond.
It slowed it down, so it would be 12 to 18 minions crashing at once.
So I like this awareness of how like the environment of League of Legends has really changed and how lane freezing is now. The dynamics of lane freezing are very different than Season 8. So small things like this do come into effect in a board stall situation that you're seeing right now. And right now it's actually going to force Vici to react towards the bot side. They still have a lot of towers down there, but it's going to come to a point where that's going to be crashing into their side, and it's going to give LGD a lot more pressure to go towards Baron.
Looks like a third minion wave is about to stack up with the other, though it appears the other two have been sort of pared down a little bit. Jay over the wall. Ooh, gets good damage onto Kramer. Chunks him down to half. Piercing arrow prevents that regeneration. There's the Predator. Ike's finds an opening. They've got the 80 carry down to half.
Miss the chains of corruptions coming in from Puff. So LGD are able to walk away fairly scot-free. They don't even have to burn any summoners.
591 out of that 750. Kramer's getting closer and closer to the Archangel's shield. Let's see, drops himself the True Shot Barrage to try to deny any split push top, and then teleports to rejoin up with his team as it's a constant stalemate, concentrating back and forth. Double Ocean for Vici versus single Ocean for LGD. Who's got the poke, who's got the sustain, and who can dodge the spells a little bit better? Clement, We got ourselves a good old-fashioned ARAM on our hands.
Yep, if you like
Kramer.
top...
Boy,
Whoa.
walks it forward, chunk down to half. Once again, Jay looking for the opening. PYL hugging him from the side. Condi goes in, Jay steps forward, PYL with the save, but that means Condi left behind. He goes down to Southwind. Southwind looking for the flash taunt, finds two. PYL along with Lies. The two tanks going down. LGD are losing ground. Double knockup as Ian finds himself one. Continues to walk it forward, but still Kramer and Ian are standing. There's the Chains of Corruption. The cleanse escapes from it. Kramer heals up, and it ends up being 1-for-1. True shot is not enough.
The front line from LGD stands up for a very, very long time, but in the end, they do fall down. LGD, their backline, however, they're just uncatchable at this point. It's come to the point in the game where unless Kramer really makes a mistake, it feels like he's untouchable. He actually was right in front of the enemy team, arcane shifting forward to get a little bit more damage off, and still he was not punished for that play. It looked really close, but you have to remember, LGD is actually coming from behind. They're very far behind in terms of the gold lead. Yeah. It should be a fight where if the comps were more even in terms of scaling, in terms of what their tools, Vici should be able to snowball over this, but...
It seems like that's what Vici are starting to realize, especially after that fight, being more aggressive and pushing for this Elder Dragon right now. Chalisa trying to go for the solo off the map while the rest of the squad isn't there. Spirit Visage gives so much regen. Condi, third time in the game. He doesn't actually hop over the wall this time, just places a ward instead to get vision. He's got smite, so does Ike, 16-15. Condi's over the wall, they know that that's him. Lies, leads the charge, he's split off from the rest of his squad though. Condi is in the pit. Ikes tosses out the undertow, Lies in the front, the tanks are dropping down, that's the Cataclysm. Redemption for Vici, tries to heal them back up. Ian and PYL doing what they can, Kramer firing shots across, they get out of this, Chains of Corruption misses, but they did lose Lies. He's finally burning down though, he is chasing Ikes down, can't quite catch up. And Ikes still alive, double ocean means he'll be able to heal up, but 50 seconds without the tank of LGD.
That was a hero play from Southwind to cut off the damage dealers from LGD, so Vici were far more damage efficient in that team fight.
They don't see Jay. Finally, they spot him. Double ward. They see the LeBlanc, but Elder Dragon at 1800 over the wall. It's burning down. Early smite. It goes down. Ike's still going to get the secure as Condi misses it. They're still going to look for the chase, though. That's 4 Elemental Dragons on the Elder. Kramer gets good damage onto Jay, but look at the poke that's traded back for a single auto attack of Chalitza. Now LGD have got to hold their ground, but Baron is up, and Vici have got the momentum.
Vici also have the bot lane as well, and they're going to teleport Jay right down there. It's going to force a response from LGD. 2 members here, that should be Baron.
Abyssal Voyage trades it off. As you said, the Baron now going to be picked up by Vici Gaming. And, ooh, Kramer. That was close. I don't think he knows how close he was to walking into a LeBlanc in the night, yeah. Oof.
4 Elder Dragons already. That's a lot of true damage to go down. He could very well have been taken down, even through the Seraphs and the Hex Drinker.
But now 43 minutes into the game, Clemens. Vici have Elder for 90 seconds, Baron for 3 minutes. LGD have respawned as 3, and you said the one thing they needed to prevent was the 4-1 split push from Vici Gaming. Well, with double Elder buff, it seems like for Vici Gaming, they are immediately going to make that plan happen, and LGD, they might have been able to stall it out earlier. Can they stall it out again?
Vici with the raw damage on Jay can actually show them a new 4-1. Hey, if you thought the other 4-1 was annoying, how about trying playing against a LeBlanc that can pop out of your red side jungle? That's going to be even scarier at this point. Goes in.
Walks up, PYL gets the save to pull him out of the ethereal chains, already healing up, but the wards are being cleared out, and the bottom side golden triangle to continue maneuvering in between mid and top. There's already a bear inhib. Condi's pretty far back as he's actually going for the wolf camp right now. Might be looking for a flank perhaps onto Puff as there is no flash.
He's very aware of his win conditions. This is a team fight where LGD are looking to pop the enemy from the back line.
He's pinging. He's saying, on my way, assist me, on my way, though I think he's just been spotted out. Ikes is right there, and Condi has no idea. Forced to hop over the wall, but Ikes is continuing to chase with that Elder Dragon. Immediately, Jay engages onto the bottom inhibitor. It crumbles as Condi escapes, looking for the flank, but does not find it, and forced to pay the price.
Vici juggling with a lot of fire here. That was a mid lane fight where I felt like LGD had the exact right idea. Can Jay actually get out of this? Oh, with the mobility double Cloud Drakes, he's actually making it look quite easy in this bot side.
And Vici still using that 1-4 split with Jay as the side member, as you mentioned. They've broken down the inhib. They're continuing to pull attention here, which leaves both mid and top less defended. And wave after wave, it's being whittled down. The cannon just a few shots away from breaking down this middle tier 3 turret, this middle inhibitor.
I think it's going to come down to Kramer. He's done it once before, just arcane shifting forward and almost taking down Puff by himself. Can he actually do it again? You just saw that one Mystic shot took a third of Jay's HP.
There's the arcane shift forward, true shot barrage, but the turret already goes down. Southwind drops himself the shield of Duran, but doesn't find it. Maiden slowly whittled down. Kramer still looking for openings and opportunities as Vici moving forward as a cohesive unit. This is the front to back LGD want, but it might be too late. Jay trying to get some chip damage, but the inhibitor has been broken. 2 inhibs down, still 30 seconds on the Baron.
LGD, even though they have a late game scaling composition, most of their damage is actually coming from the poke. And with double Ocean Drakes and also the Elder Drake earlier on, it's been very hard for Kramer to put damage.
Condi with the engage. Puff uses that flash in order to escape. It's back on cooldown as LGD just reset, but the turret has been broken. Chains of Corruption misses. Condi at such low health, but Redemption resets Vici back up. Now Teleport is ready for Chalitza. He's about to get back into this as Puff eats some damage. He's got Maw and GA, and he's still standing. Meanwhile, Jay splitting on the far side, continuing to pull attention, pulling the resources of LGD apart. PYL hugging Kramer, knowing he's the man with the plan. He's the man with the action. Can he make the stand as Lies charges forward, trying to pin them against the wall, looking for Puff. Remember, no flash on that Varus. If they can burn it down, they can try and reset this fight, but still, Kramer cannot find an opening in between these minions.
Just really good shielding from Vici Gaming. They're keeping Puff so well defended at this point, and Jay has been such a nuisance in terms of the bot lane. He's willing to dive back and forth and just split the damage dealers out from LGD. LGD, they need to find a single burst of damage that can really take down Puff, but they just don't have the members on the same point to do it. Multiple engages already failing at this point.
True shot barrage, chunks Puff and Southwind, but it's not enough to finish them off. The inhibitor is still standing, so it's only super minions in mid and top. LGD will get a brief respite, and emphasis on brief because it's 60 seconds to the Elder Dragon, 90 to the Baron. They were able to stall out this slow roll push 47 minutes in for Vici, but at what cost? They have lost nearly everything.
This is the most value I've seen a team get out of Ocean Drakes.
Oh, yeah.
When your enemy is Kramer
yeah.
and most of his damage is just the poke going in, this is exactly what you want. Look at Kramer's build. Very interesting. He's actually going to go for the Triforce.
Yep.
So trading out more damage. Started with the Iceborne Gauntlet.
Oh, look at that damage. So much AP from Jay. Just right into the back line. That's the Abyssal Voyage. Keep the inhib up, though. Kramer with the chase. That's a flash from Jay. Oh, another hit and the slow. PYL still looking for it. They've targeted the wrong one as Jay distorts to safety. Kramer, he's thinking about it. True shot barrage. Oh, wow. So close, but that's the Abyssal Voyage away from the Elder Dragon as it respawns. Vici already in the pit. Son of Baron. Can you do it this time? He's over the wall with Lies. 3,000 health. Ian walks it forward, drops the laser. They're going to try to finish it, and they get it. LGD with the steal. They turn it around for the fight. Cataclysm goes down, and LGD, they might be able to get the fight. Puff, no flash to the Cataclysm. GA has been popped. Kramer firing. Can he finish Puff off? The taunt goes down. Puff walks it back, and Vici are still alive. Vici are walking it away. Teleport down into the bottom lane as Jay is trying to end the game. Teleport onto the turret. Teleport onto the turret. Is it going to finish? The turret goes down, though it will complete. The turn onto the Nexus. Vici trying to equalize the game. Puff firing attack after attack, and it's finished off. Puff closes out Game 2 for Vici Gaming.
Vici Gaming respond with the fork of their own. They saw the tricks that LGD played on them in Game 1, and they learned fast.
And look at that face. That is not laughter or relief or smiles. That is the look of a face of a warrior, of a fighter who will wait till the 49-minute opening to close out Game 2.
They know the game is on this time. Jay, even though he didn't have the best early laning phase, he played the later half of that game so well, dipping and diving between LGD players, taking down their turrets slowly, splitting them up. Kramer did everything he possibly could. Look at that damage. 48.9k, almost 50k damage to hold the team even at a 9,000 gold deficit
Yeah.
to hold them in the game for that long.
I mean, you could even see the gold at the very end there starting to snowball back towards LGD, though it might have gone from 11 to maybe 8,000 at the very end of the match. But still, a close game from LGD. They knew their composition. They knew what they wanted to do. They knew how to pull Vici apart. Vici just did the exact same thing LGD did in Game 1. They played it patient. They used their spacing to constantly pick and look for opportunities and wait for LGD to overextend just a little bit too far. And finally, Vici were able to whittle apart the Nexus.
Yes, so well played by Vici Gaming. It's very hard for a rookie team to actually play all the lanes simultaneously, correctly at the right time, and take everything away from them. I will say, I think Vici is going to go forward with this strategy if LGD allow them. If LGD allow them to get the same type of draft, where it's strong in all lanes, where you can snowball it early, you can see the Vici tempo game coming into action here.
Yeah, and it pays off for Vici in that game, too. That said, we've got Game 3 coming at you. Don't go anywhere. The LPL will be right back.